When teaching a pupil in a one-to-one lesson recently, they asked me if thinking in shapes meant that they were cheating when playing the bass, and if they did this, were they a fraud? This was an interesting question, and it made me think about it afterwards, and it raised another question: what do we really need to learn to play the bass guitar well? I thought this would make an interesting YouTube video, so in this video I'm going to answer these questions, and I'm also going to give you some concrete ideas to take away if you want to move on from just playing in shapes. You can get the exercises from this lesson and a free cheat sheet by clicking the link below this video in the description. The cheat sheet's really useful if you want to know how to work more on your playing and get away from just playing in shapes. First of all, if you're thinking in shapes, then this usually means that you're not thinking about the note names, but is this a problem? Well, to answer this question, first of all, watch me play this bass line, have a listen and see what shapes I'm using and just observe me playing it. That was part of the bass line from One Step Beyond by Madness. Now, I bet if 10 people were watching this, they'd all have slightly different methods for learning this bass line. You might watch me and look at the notes that I'm playing on the fretboard and try to remember them. You might use your ear and try to remember the notes that way. You might try to memorize the shapes that the bass line makes. You might notice that the patterns are major and minor arpeggio shapes. Each approach is a valid way of learning a bass line, and there's also a fifth method, which is having the sheet music or the tab for the bass line and reading it. So is there a particular method that's the correct one to use? Well, I believe that the most important skill to have if you're playing popular music like rock and blues is to be able to play it by ear. Obviously, if you're a classical musician or you read music as part of your job like I do, then you also need to read music. If you do play by ear only, it's likely that you would have picked up some patterns along the way to help you to learn different bass lines. This is a great approach and there's nothing wrong with doing this. If you're enjoying this video, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel by clicking the red subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner of the screen. And if you click the bell and select all, you'll get notified as soon as I release a new video. Let's go back to the Madness bass line. If I was reading this, I'd look at that first bar, I'd see it started with a C, and I'd very quickly notice that that was a minor arpeggio shape. Okay, so I would just read that C, and I wouldn't really think about the other notes in particular, I would just play that arpeggio shape. If I was hearing the bass line and learning it that way by ear, again, I would notice this minor arpeggio shape. I would kind of hear that. And then I might have to find the C, work out, okay, it starts on a C, and again, I'll just play that pattern. I wouldn't really think about the other two notes. But if someone did ask me what the notes were, I'd know them. I know that there was C, E flat, and G. The same for the next bar. I'd look at that pattern. If it was on the notation, I'd see that that was an arpeggio shape just from experience, or if I heard it, I would hear that that was a minor shape. Okay, I've already played the C minor arpeggio, so I kind of know that that's just starting on another note. I'd probably hear that's F, and then I'd play the shape. I'd kind of work it out that way. Then when I get to the fifth bar, I'd see that that started on a G, or I'd hear that note. Okay, I'd find that would be a G, and then the pattern's slightly different here. I would hear or see that that's a major arpeggio shape. Okay, it's got the major third. If it was the minor third, it'd be like this. Okay, so after playing for a while, you can kind of learn to hear the difference between minor and major. So that pattern. So again, I'd think about the G and then just play those other two notes. I wouldn't kind of necessarily think about the note names. This is stepping down the scale. Carries down to C, so that's just a part of a C minor scale. So again, I would think about that as just being a scale pattern. So as you can see from that, even though I've been playing bass professionally for over 25 years, I've been playing bass for 35 years, I think now, I still think about patterns a lot of the time, and sometimes I don't think about the note names. I start the pattern, I think about that note, and then just play different patterns. As you play for years, you build up this kind of vocab of different patterns. But the difference is, I can understand the theory behind it. I know what an arpeggio is. I know a major and minor shape. I know what the notes are on the notation and on the bass. So I do know those, but I don't have to use them all the time. So if you use shapes in your bass playing, then you aren't a fraud. You're just making use of the patterns that you have on the fretboard. That said, you'll only reach a certain point that you can't get past if you just play by shapes. That's where a basic understanding of music theory is really going to help you to progress further on the bass. You don't necessarily have to learn how to read, but a basic understanding of music theory, an understanding of arpeggios, keys, harmony, that kind of thing will really help you immensely. If you can combine all these factors along with playing by ear, then you'll be a really versatile musician and bass player. So where do you go if you want to move on from just playing shapes on the bass? Make sure that you actually know what the notes are on the fretboard. Have a look on the cheat sheet that's on the free PDF. The link is below in the description. You'll find some fret diagrams on there to help you with this. Also learn your arpeggio shapes and scales. Start learning these as they're a good way to understand how bass lines are constructed. The circle of fifths diagram is also on the cheat sheet. This contains loads of information about chord progressions, and if you understand this diagram or just delve into it a little bit, then you'll understand how chord progressions of different songs are constructed. Also take a look at my 0 to Hero course, which starts at the basics of playing bass and learning music theory. You don't need to know anything before you take the course, and it will help you to become an intermediate bass player. You can find out more about this course by clicking the link in the description below this video. Well, I hope this video has helped you out if you do use shapes and patterns in your playing and wondering whether this was a good method or not. And also I hope this video and the cheat sheet will help you to go in some other directions if you want to develop your playing more and look at music theory or different methods of learning. I'd love to hear what you've thought about this lesson and whether it helped you or not. And also if you've got other areas of your playing that you're not sure about or you want me to make a video about, leave me a suggestion below in the comments. You can really help me out by liking and sharing this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel by clicking the red subscribe button. And if you felt that you got value out of this lesson, you can always buy me a coffee. They're $5. The details are at the bottom of the screen there, or you can click a link below in the description. And also don't forget to head over to my website, gbshed.com. I've got details of my bass courses, bass books, membership, merch. There's loads of stuff on there, so check it out. It's gbshed.com. This is Greg from Greg's Bass Shed. Hopefully see you very soon in the next lesson.